Hey guys, how would you like to learn how to embroider on a straw hat? Well, today we're going to take it an extra level and show you not only how to embroider on a straw hat, but how to embroider the impossible right here on the head of the hat. Stick around to find out how. Alright, so before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that if you have any questions at all throughout the video, to leave a comment below and we'll get back to you with an answer. And I also want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed so far. If you are new here, welcome to our channel. If you have not subscribed yet, then I highly recommend clicking on subscribe so that you can get notified when we post new content. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so let's quickly talk about what we're going to need in order to pull off this type of embroidery. Now, what we're going to do today is that we're actually going to embroider on the top of the hat. And since, as you can see, this is kind of hard to get flat, and in embroidery, we know that in order for it to be stitchable, it needs to be flat. As you can see, we can't really get the top of this flat. We can easily embroider on the brim that you've seen on a single needle. You can probably do like a simple monogram on the brim if you float it over your hoop. For those of you who don't know what that means, I'll explain in a minute. But today we're going to use these machine embroidery clamps in order to get this embroidery in this very difficult to reach area. And I'll show you exactly how we're gonna hoop it to make this happen. Now, with our traditional hoops, it would be very hard to hoop material like this in general because it's very thick, so it can just slip right out of the hoop even if you do manage to get it in. So mostly what people do is that they float their material over their hoop, which essentially means that you just have to hoop your stabilizer and apply some adhesive spray and some pins, and then float your material on the hoop. So you would just place it on top of the stabilizer instead of hooping it together with the stabilizer. But that is a little bit of extra work, and you do risk losing registration. It's not, I'm not to say that it would happen, but you do risk it. Whereas here you have this nice secure clamp that's just so easy to use, and it's just, it looks intimidating, but it's really not. So today I'm going to show you guys how this works, and this is compatible with the multi-needle machine. So if you have a single needle, they don't have anything like this for single needle machines, so you're a little bit limited. But if you do have a multi-needle, then check it out. These are Hoop Tech clamps, and they really do work wonders. All right, so the hardest part about embroidering on this straw type of hat is really just hooping it. But other than that, let's talk a little bit about the best practices for the type of fabric. So first off, we know that this is a textured fabric. This is straw, so you are going to need some water-soluble stabilizer on top of your design in order for your stitches to have something flat and leveled to fall on, and that way they will not sink into your textured fabric or look distorted. And then here we also have some tearaway backing. This is a thick material, and I'm doing a simple monogram, so I will be fine using my tearaway backing, so it won't show on the other side. In this case, we're embroidering on the top of the hat, so it won't show regardless, but your tearaway is fine for this type of material. And then this is optional, but I'm going to use some temporary adhesive spray just to help with my hooping. I don't want things to move around. In just a minute, I'm going to hoop this up and put this into the machine, and you guys are going to see how the embroidery design is a stitch-filled design and doesn't have any open stitches, no running stitches, because that will not show up well on this type of material. So that's something else to keep in mind, is that you're going to need a design with satin stitches or heavier fills. One more thing to keep in mind with the design is that this is textured fabric, so you do run the risk of the design not filling up as much as you hoped and it kind of having gaps in between. So if that does happen, you can go ahead and buy some embroidery fabric markers that you can just match to the color of your thread, and it will look just like the stitches, and it's kind of just to like clean up some of the areas that might have some gaps. All right, so I'm going to quickly talk to you a little bit about the anatomy of this contraption. Now, it might look intimidating, but I promise you it's not. It's actually very easy to use. And we do have another video on how this works, and I can link it in the description. But for now, I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview on how this works so you can understand what you're seeing here. So here on the top right here, we just have the top ring. So think of this as your top hoop. And then on the bottom, we have our bottom frame. So to think of this as your bottom hoop. The fabric will go in between these two as well as the stabilizer. Now you can switch off these frames here and buy additional windows, and that will be compatible with different sizes. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back. So I'm just tightening up the bottom hoop, and I'm going to place the top hoop inside. And then we have this little lever right here that's going to put pressure on the material. And it's very high pressure, so as you can see, this is going to stay very, very sturdy on the machine. Next up, I'm just going to place my stabilizer under. Actually, I'm going to quickly put some adhesive spray on my stabilizer. Then I'm going to go ahead and place it under. You can also place it on your material. It really just depends on what you're comfortable with. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide my hat in. And as I slide it in, I'm just going to bend the front forward so that I can get really into the area where the head of the hat is. I'm going to flip it this way. So you're kind of just going to need to pull on the fabric. So this is definitely possible. This is just showing you the depth of where these clamps can reach to. So now you're just going to want to flatten this down as much as possible. If you can get someone else to hold it down while you pull the lever. But it's not necessary. If I can do it myself, you can do it yourself. All right, so as you can see, I have this hooped and ready to go on the machine. As you can see, just like regular hooping, you're gonna have the backing covering the entire area of the hoop. All right, so I have inserted the clamps onto the machine off camera. If you guys want to see how it's done on camera, then I highly recommend checking out the other video that I mentioned earlier that goes in depth on these clamps in specific. Now, a few points to mention before we get started. I have already picked my colors. I have 3 different colors going on for this design. And I'm also going to be embroidering at 500 stitches per minute just because we want it to show up on this textured fabric. So you want to slow down the machine a little bit just to make sure the stitches come out clear. And last but not least, to make sure the stitches come out clear, you're going to want to place 1 sheet of water-soluble stabilizer on top. So that's the last thing I'm going to do before I go ahead and press start. All right, so we are ready to press start. So here goes nothing. All right, so our design is complete. So now all I have to do is just pop up the lever, and then I am just going to remove the aqua top and the tearaway off camera. All right, so in just a moment, I'm going to turn around and reveal the finished product. So let's do it. Here it is. Isn't it cute, you guys? All right, so there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button below and to subscribe to our channel. And I also wanted to take the time to invite you guys to our Facebook group, Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery. In there, you can chat with me and thousands of other embroiderers. You can share any tips, ask any questions that you have. And wait, before you go, I have one more thing to ask of you guys, and that is to subscribe to our newsletter. You will get emails with our content delivered to your inbox, so I highly recommend subscribing. Again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.